I have been chasing Mr. Ian Bishop for last so many months. I met him in the West Indies and we were supposed to do this interview in Caribbean. But it's better late than never. Bish, thank you so much. Appreciate your time. My first question, you have covered men's cricket all around the world. Kind of buzz, same kind of buzz, or you're missing the buzz?
I'm missing the buzz. The women's game, I would say it's the fastest growing facet of the international game because it's been a market that we haven't realized its full potential. There are thousands and hundreds of thousands of young girls who want to forge a career, and so with the advent now of the WPL, alongside BBL and those sorts of things, you're going to find more opportunity for young girls. More investment is going to be bumped into the women's game. So now I thoroughly enjoy watching the growth of women's cricket over the last 6 to 7 years.
If you were to point out one significant difference in terms of play, the T20 format, which is the reason for, we have these different kind of popularity for these two games.
20 now, whether it's the men's game or the women's game, as we call it, power game. And so you find that Australia are now back-to-back champions and looking to defend that because they've got, perhaps skill is an important thing, but to marry with that skill, you've got a lot of power. For example, in batting from 1 to 8, they're excellent athletes in the field. England perhaps catching up slightly to them, but I think that is what has separated those two. And T20 cricket, male or female, is really a power game. But as you go up to 50 over ODIs and Test cricket, it's more of a finesse game, married with power. So it stands on its own now because a lot of fans are buying into the whipping up of the women's.
Bishal, you spent quite a significant time of year in India, and obviously ins and out of Indian cricket. A very modern series is being played back home. The way India has come back against Australia, the way they have dominated, did you expect that, or do you think that Australia has been very flat, disappointing?
Well, you could say that they're disappointing, but then you have to give credit to their own team as well. It's increasingly hard to beat certain teams at home. Australia in their home is very, very challenging for most of the teams apart from India. India is a very difficult team to beat at home, and that's the way it should be. You should know your condition. So I just think you can look at it, I look at it half full, glass half full, that India very, very dominant, holding, batting, and everything in their room condition. So I think we need to give credit to them.
As a commentator, you have this reputation of being fiercely neutral, giving your opinion in an unbiased way. So when you see something like that happening on KL Rahul, the Twitter is divided, the whole India is divided. One hand, Venkatesh Prasad, former India bowler pacer, is questioning that, KL Rahul should be dropped, while on the other hand, Akash Chopra or Harbhajan, they are saying no, he should be. So when you see that from a, neutral lens, where do you put KL Rahul's position in this debate going on in India?
I have no comment on the debate. I think it's a part and parcel of every cricketer's life. I've been through it as a player. People feel they should be in, people feel they should be out, and it's just more magnified in for it 1,000 more times than it would do in some countries because the population size is so big. So looking from the outside, you sort of think to yourself, okay, it's good to have a debate, but at the end of the day, the guy's a human being. And to see his mate sort of being thrown through social media and the press is not an easy thing, but you buy into it as a sports winner. It'll play out. He's a talented cricketer. He'll find his way in the different formats. It will take some time, but I don't want to get into that personal debate. Guys are going personally at each other. That's not the issue. We should just talk about what happens on field, pluses, minuses. I remember that people are even beings.
You have seen Rohit Sharma as an opener. Yeah. When he started opening, there were a lot of question marks regarding his technique or temperament. But of late, you have seen, especially in the last couple of years, does he look like the best, most compact opening batsman across the world, and not just to go in?
How do you qualify best? I'm not sure how you quantify.
He also runs consistency across the which is
He, when I saw him in England with that long ago, was it last year or
2021.
2021? He just looked after so much more time, so he understands his game a lot more now. Whoever's done work with him has done an excellent job. He plays the ball late. The initial phase of his career, apart from the West Indies side, it was hard work. But like everyone, and I think people can take that for KL Rahul as well, the good players will fight him. So I think he's up there with his body of work now across sports. In Test cricket, it's excellent to see how much time he has to play the ball.
Another iconic player in Indian cricket is Virat Kohli. Of late, there was a lot of criticism regarding his beginning, but he has answered those in white ball cricket, whether it's T20 or one day. But still, the big 100 missing in Test cricket. Do you think there's something worrisome, or it's just like a phase, like he has got over from white ball, it will happen sooner or later?
Who knows? None of us know. Those pure hard man. He's been a great player. It doesn't matter for him. Let's say Virat doesn't score a 100. Let's assume. Does that take away from what he's done? He's weighed his market history. He would like to continue scoring. Fans of Virat Kohli like myself would love to see him really out the hundreds. But I cannot sit here and stand here and tell you whether he's scored another one. I'm just not that good. I'd love to see it. I'm sure that he'll score another one sooner rather than later. But whether they come with a regularity, I don't know. But if he does, let's assume he doesn't.
You have played with Sir. Yeah, sorry. No, go ahead. Yeah, fine. You have played with Sir Rohit-Virat-Viv Richards, and there is sometimes people see that Virat is one Indian player who reminds a lot of people about his aggression. Do you find that assessment quite?
It's a different type of aggression. Viv and Virat are stylistically two different players. Viv is a lot more powerful physically, and the way that he kills Virat is more of a touch square. Dominant in a different way. They both have a great admiration for each other, and I like that. Different generations. If there was no Viv Richards, there probably wouldn't be in the brand era that was the Virat Kohli that we have today, building his game on a Sachin Tendulkar. So each generation stands on the shoulders of those that have gone before. That's why they can see clever. So the one thing I'd like to say is that I find in sport we look for too many controversies. I think it's time to sit back and appreciate players for who they are and study this whole issue really about who's best. How can you judge who's a better player? Right, plus they do it in basketball, they do it in football. Generations, it's impossible to compare. Let's appreciate each player for who he is.
Wonderful thoughts, Krish. Now, just a couple of questions, since you have been a fast bowler. So, a couple of questions from a fast bowler. And the more precise is Jasprit Bumrah. You have gone through the same stage, back problem and all that, fast bowler, tough job demanding. It has become even tougher in today's world when you have to play 2 months of IPL. So, if you were a Jasprit Bumrah, or you have to suggest as a coach, how would you manage? Because everyone wants Bumrah to be at his fittest, want to play all the format. What will you will suggest Bumrah?
No bowler can play all the formats continuous. That's another one. 3 formats. I had 2 formats and I struggled with 5 back. So I think sadly, for fans, you have to pick and choose what are the important contests for each player. Because you've got a Bumrah, you've got a Jofra Archer, you've got a Mitchell Stark, and Stark is probably a better example. He takes time off, he takes tournaments off, he's given rest so that he maintains his speed. These bowlers, if they don't have a shine that freedom, if they don't have that speed, that cutting edge speed that they've had at their prime spells, they just become another of the bowlers on the treadmill. And similarly with Jasprit, he's got an extra sharpness about his bowling and he's at his best, and you want to procure them. So I think you've got to manage. He's a match winner, a difference maker. part of the India success of tournaments and games where you pet Raj, whether he's fit or not. So I think you've got to allow him to miss certain games, certain tours, certain tournaments in order to have a longevity in his future.
But you have gone through this. Does it put it under yourself in doubt when you are having a back injury as a bowler? You have gone through that. No matter how good you are, does it put it some doubt, self-doubt, or is it like?
Especially when you're coming back, there's a feeling out period about whether you can trust your physical makeup. But then after you've gone through your prep, I think it goes to the back of your mind. I can speak from personal experience. And the same will be with Jasprit, that once he goes through a load build-up, it will become second nature once again, as long as it doesn't feed discomfort. So once he's managed properly, he will be back, and with 2 World Cups coming up in the next 16 months, I think it's more important that India say, we want to get him right. So we prefer to be overcautious rather than rushing in. I think they've done the right thing in not rushing him back at the slightest level of discomfort.
Mohammad Shami is regarded as the craftiest Indian bowler of it in terms of his speed. How do you look at a lot of people? It's not my female. How did?
Nothing. He's a good bowler. I think he's taken up the mantle very well. He's sharp, good pace, good control, and it depends on which format you think he's best in. Obviously, there's been a reluctance at times to play him in the shortest format. So he's come along well. He's filled the void. Now, certainly in the red ball game, where you've missed Jasprit. So whether he falls in the craftiest or whether he falls into that category, I don't know, that's for other people to judge. But he's definitely a bonus to the team and a very, very good bowler.
My final question is, before I let you go, when you were playing, India was seen as a land of spinners, and now you see top 4-5 bowlers across the format, different skill set. Even in India, Shami is taking 4-5 wickets, Mohammad Siraj coming up. Did you ever imagine that India would produce so many fast bowlers?
No, it wasn't something when we were playing that I thought I would see. But that's where you have to give a lot of credit to administrators and captains who had foresight to say, if we have to become a number 1 team, we had to win away from home. And if we have to win away from home, we've always produced batters, that's India, but we need fast bowlers, because in the West, the spinners at times won't get as much assistance as when they're at home. So it's been great to see, going back to Srinath, Zahid Khan, the swing bowling of Urban Khan come right through our piecing up to where we are now with Siraj and these stars. It has been a necessary component of Indian cricket, and it just goes to show that if you're deliberate in trying to produce a particular player or style of player, it can be done where there's a will and India have shown that with their production line of the outbreak bowlers.
Thank you so much, Mr. M. Bishat. Appreciate your time, and it's been worth the wait in the board. I've been waiting for so many, but you have really spoken well. Thank you so much. Really appreciate it.
It's a big